What do you think about the current youth culture and their attachment to social media?
I think it's very detrimental when you think about what people tell each other on the computer may not have anything to do with their reality. Everybody wants to sound better, look better, and pretend that everything is really wonderful. Um, when we look at young people, you hardly see any of them that are able to communicate. They don't look you in the face. They can't answer your questions. They're busy looking at their cell phones. They're busy looking at whatever programs happen to be on, whether it be murder stories or shootings, or where in earlier days, and particularly in some other countries, children are raised with values of the village, particularly values of early things that the parents read to them in books that are appropriate to their age, in games that are appropriate to their age, and in parental guidance, where it is difficult to really steer a child. And I have seen a lot of it, particularly in the United States, where some parents will just decide early on, I'm going to send my child to a genius club, because I want them to be a lawyer or a doctor. Well, if your child is not inclined to be that, it's not a brilliant idea. What parents are neglecting to do is to kind of wander through the early stages of their life with the child to see where the child wants to go, what is the child's interest. And you can usually pick that up by reading a child's book and really taking notice of what particular part of the book is really of the greatest interest to them. Is it the little deer that broke its leg, or is it the boy deer that becomes the spectacular leader? All of those issues tell you something about the direction that your child would like to be headed in.
Do you think that the social media phenomena is something that should be addressed by the school or by the parents?
I think by the parents, and even though from what I have seen in the United States about parenting, you get every level and every kind of parenting. I think the schools in some particular areas are almost like prison-like institutions. If you take everything away from a child, that's not going to work. But if you have absolutely no discipline, that's not going to work either.
How can social media be helpful in childhood development?
Social media, even though we have now restrictions on movies, and social media is, I believe, extremely harmful to young children.
What about for older children? What about for high school age children?
I think by the time children get to high school age, they have pretty much decided what path they're going to take. I think the real parental inspirations come much, much earlier.
What other activities do you think parents could guide their children to rather than social media?
I think sports are very important, unless it is extremely competitive. I think social interaction of young people, very important. Doesn't need to be drugs, or doesn't need to be wild parties, just social interactions the way people used to do in different children's homes with parental influence.
What do you think about the permanency of some social media, that children can post things that really stay permanent for many years?
I think that's extremely detrimental, because you kind of you get a label, and many kids then feel that, okay, well, they already have this label, and now they will just continue to follow in that path.
Do you think with labeling, do you think parents have a role, or do you think the society and the schools are also have a role with labels?
I think it's a combination of this, of your neighborhood, of your parents, of your friends, of how many hours do you have your television on, what you watch, what discussions do you have, are the parents at home boozing it up, are they using drugs, what is their attitude? It's a reflection of everything.
Thank you very much.